Hey everybody, this is Rustin Rose with Metalholic Magazine and Metal Nation Radio. Joining us today, Emir Erkal of Voodoo Terror Tribe. How are you doing, my friend?
Thank you. How are you? Thanks for having me.
Oh, absolutely. I am wonderful. It's a fantastic day. Congrats on the release of the new album, The Sun Shining Cold, which came out today.
Finally, yeah. Thank you. It's been a while. We've been waiting. It's been, I don't know, almost a year. We've been working on this release. So it's finally out there.
So how is everything in your world this week aside from the album? It's been a strange week here in America.
Oh yeah, it's been strange. A lot of mixed feelings, I guess. It's just, obviously, a lot of unexpected things happen.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I'm just hoping for a better America. And then, it's not looking that way at the moment, but still hopeful.
Absolutely. So, and you came over, 15 years ago from Istanbul, Turkey? That must have been something of a culture shock.
Yeah. Back then, yeah, it was actually. It's like, even though, how people outside America, they know, a lot about America. I guess from the music, the movies, all kinds of American things. So it's and 15 years ago, it was more like that, especially back in Turkey, Istanbul. It was hard to listen to get the albums or hear or see an American band and all. It's it was really difficult at the time. And I used to I had a band over there back in the day, and it was a old school thrash metal band.
Right.
And we made albums there, all in English, nothing in Turkish actually, all English thrash metal. And 3 albums, I think 94, 97, 99. And we even toured with my band in most of Turkey at the time, different cities, different locations, different places. And under those circumstances, that was really difficult. It's like a Muslim country. It's like you're trying to perform heavy metal, and the first thing they think, this is the devil's music. So it's it was tough, but now things change. 15 years later, when I look back, it started changing the second I left. I think in 2001. After that, it's the music scene changed. It got better. They got all kinds of festivals over there. A lot of big American, European bands going there, especially in the summer. All kinds of festivals. So it's now it's really not much different than European countries, how the festivals are, because whatever's happening over there, they try to take it to Turkey. And so all these big bands can go and play there. Because I remember even before I left, the first big concert started over there. I remember seeing Metallica, Bon Jovi, Guns N' Roses, probably in 99 and or 97, around then. Yeah, over there. They were the very first big concert in Istanbul, with the American bands coming there for the first time. And then in the last 15 years, now it's like a routine. They go there all the time. I got here and I wasn't sure if I was gonna stay permanently. And but the plan was really to put together a band and then really go on that career here, because that was the main goal. And then, after a lot of struggle, then it happened. Finally, after working with different musicians, finally I found the right musicians. Of course, it took a while, and it came all the way today.
You mentioned you've been working on The Sun Shining Cold for the last year, but the new album has, in some ways, been 7 years coming. You guys released a couple of EPs in the interim. You lost your former vocalist who passed away.
Yes.
How has the time between the records and bringing in Gil on vocals impacted the band's sound?
It's a lot, actually, because before Gil, we had a different singer in the first EP and then the first album. Different singer in the 2005, 2007, around then. And then Gil came in 2009, and he brought a lot to the table, especially with his, incredible voice and then incredible talent, incredible writing, especially. It's since then, especially for this album, he composed most of this album, lyrically and music-wise. And then, I mean, the rest of us still wrote some of it, but I can easily say he wrote most of it. And then, I mean, we always arranged the music all together. And also, it's like we'll come back to that, but like Christian Machado being in the picture as a producer in this album, that was the highlight. That was like that made it as like that made the best for us. But before coming to this point, with Gil coming into the band, we also started adding some keyboard sample sounds, electronic sounds, and a little bit industrial and all that. It started with him, and then with the first album we did with him, it had a little bit of that, and then we did 2 EPs after that. And the last EP, like every song had different samples, keyboards, and finally, like in this album, we have like keyboards in every song, and then or like different sounds, different samples. Even though we don't have a keyboard player in the band, but me and Gil, we can play keyboards at least to a level that we can record it, and so that's what we did. And then the live performance, we play over the like backing tracks, so it works. We try to perform the same way how the album came up. So it's like now this album defines us better than much more than our previous albums, of course.
Well, that's kind of what I was getting to. But let's back up for a minute, because as you mentioned, you worked on The Sun Shining Cold with the master himself, Mr. Christian Machado of El Nino. How did he impact the? I mean, I know he's been a friend to you in the band for a while, but how did he impact the making of the record?
First of all, I mean, him being a great musician, artist, professional, all these years with El Nino, it's like a very successful career. But aside from that, he's just a great person, and he's a very laid-back and humble person, and he pushed us so much in the studio, pushed our boundaries. There were things that we thought maybe we were never capable of doing, but then we did, on the guitar, on the bass, on the vocals, on the drums. So he really took more from us, and then it's just again took it out as much as possible, and we kind of learned to be flexible with him, because before then we didn't really let anyone rearrange our songs or produce our songs that much before. That really didn't happen before. Even though we worked with Billy Grazielli from Biohazard in 2009,
right?
But at the time, and he's a great musician and great producer, as we know, but at the time, we didn't really work with him in the studio together. It was more like a remotely producing the album. So, and he wasn't there when we were recording, and we weren't there when he was mixing. So it's like it was almost like more like a remote relation. So I can't consider that really I can't compare it to this new album's work, and also that was different. That's why we actually wanted to sit down with Billy at the time and work side by side, or entire studio time. But he wasn't in New Jersey, and we recorded in New Jersey at the time. So it's like it just didn't happen. But again, he did his best, and we're still proud of that record. It's just it was another stepping stone, and also actually adding keyboards and all that. Billy, at the time, he was a part of it because he started adding sounds to our music at the time. That's why we wish we had worked with him side by side in the studio, but it didn't happen. So then with Christian, it happened. When Christian came all the way from California to New Jersey just to work with us, almost a month, every day in the studio. So that made a huge difference. And before he got to Jersey, before we started recording, we did a lot of pre-production through Skype or on the phone with the band, or just me and him going over the melodies, going over the riffs and guitar riffs or parts or different sections and all that. We started changing things before he got here. And then after he got to New Jersey, we spent a few days in our own studio just to go over the songs again, go over the demos and all that. And then we start recording. And during the recording session, again, there were times that we changed the songs or parts or little bit something like last minute, or we came up with a new riff, or he came up with it, or it's like maybe he changed it, maybe we didn't like it at first sight, but then, okay, that's great. We just have to learn to be flexible. And then, there were songs that almost going in a different direction than we expected. But then, okay, you know what? We believe him, we trust him, we know that he's working even harder than us to make this as good as possible. And then, yeah, a lot of songs, they all came out different than we expected, but better. Because of him arranging it or putting his touch. He just treated the record like it's another El Nino record or his own baby. And we can't thank him enough for that.
Absolutely. And I think that happens a lot of time. Bands, they get into the studio with an idea for a song, and by the time they're done, it's a completely different animal because it took on a life of its own,
Exactly. Yeah.
So
definitely.
Now
it's just a matter of trust, actually, between the musicians and the producer, or between the band and the producer, and the relation between all the because we're all musicians, but then it's like just understanding each other, and sometimes it's not that easy. Sometimes your song is like your own, your kid, your baby. You don't want to change it. You don't want to touch it. You just you're happy with it. You want to leave it like that. But sometimes you can see it from the inside. You need the outsider, that's the producer.
Absolutely. And that can be hard sometimes. You've got a part that you wrote that you just love, but in truth, it doesn't really serve the song, and you have to amputate it, so to speak. And you're like, no, I don't want to give it up, but I have to.
Exactly. So, of course, it happened to us too, but then we just had to be patient and see where it was all going. And finally, it went to a great place. But it's like, and also the thing is, again, we appreciated Christian that he also created that little bit flexible environment in the studio. Of course, there's always a certain budget. You cannot just use the studio hours or days like forever. So, of course, but at least this time spending almost a month in a studio and with him, a person like him, so that helped making the album and this good that we're proud of. Because in the past, when we record an EP or an album, it was like, okay, go in the studio maybe for a week and record and get the hell out. That's it, done. So it's like because you're under tight budget and then certain hours, and you cannot extend them. And also this time it was a little bit more flexible, so it helped us also. It helped our creativity.
Right. Yeah, it's not nowadays with all the technology. It's like everything is shortened, and you're trying to push it out so quickly. So having an entire month in the studio is a gift. All right, so
definitely
the album, The Sunshine and Cold, to me has something of a dark and haunted feel, even menacing in places. Was that the intent, or just sort of how things played out? Tell us about the album from your perspective.
It is dark in a way. Every song has its own story, but in general, it's like a kind of some post-apocalyptic scene, post-Armageddon. It's like this frozen sun over a desolate city, and city meaning it's like imagining like New York City kind of place, and end of the world, or it's like but still people are hopeful to see that sun shine again, and then turn into from frozen state to a really hot state. So that's kind of like a little bit dark on that. And then there are other different concepts, like different songs, like in "Lady in the Wall" is it's like in itself it's about a ghost of a lady, haunting people, and so it's like that's another dark concept that we're also planning to make a concept video for that one, hopefully soon, "Lady in the Wall." And like our first single, also "City of Sixes," That was that which we made a video for, and that we released it back in May, I guess. Yeah, April, May. And that was directed by Scott Hansen,
Right.
Who's an incredible director, and who also filmed a lot of El Nino videos and bands like We Came as Romans, Upon a Burning Body, Motionless in White. So he's a great director, and we worked with him on that video, and it came out great. And it's also kind of the similar concept to the album. It kind of defines the album's concept in a way. Again, City of Sixes, meaning like the New York City. It's like where the excess sin and evil, lives, and using the word 666, but in different, playing with the words. Some parts it's only sick, and some parts it's just the number 666.
Right.
So, and then again, it's like in a post-apocalyptic city, people, are hopeful, to see get back to good old days. That's another, it's the album kind of started with that song, and then we kept writing, especially our singer Gil, when he brought a lot of songs to the table, and we had to pick like 10, to put it in the record. And also we showed them to Christian as well. We also got his idea, okay, which ones you prefer that we should put in the album, so, and that was our choice, because there were a lot of songs that didn't make it to the album. Then hopefully they'll make it to the next one.
Absolutely. It's kind of interesting while we've been sitting here talking, and I've been ruminating a bit on sort of that post-apocalyptic theme that you were talking about for this album. it almost like bringing us back to the beginning of the conversation with what happened in America this week. That's really where America is at right now, with that glimmer of hope that it's not really as dark as it seems. And you can take so many of the songs on this album and put it into that. The Lady in the Wall thing could be the Statue of Liberty. The City of Sixes. Exactly. I mean, No Hell Like Home.
No Hell Like Home, yeah. It's like really our home is becoming hell now.
Yeah,
so it's like, and we kind of, the sun is shining cold now. I don't know when it's gonna shine hot again. Yeah. So it's just it's weird nowadays. Yes, and I didn't really even think of like that, but now you're pointing it out. You're right.
Yeah,
it's a weird irony.
Yeah, I mean, if it if what happened this week hadn't happened the way it happened, it certainly wouldn't really matter. But now you can look at it and just go, oh wow, this is like almost like we planned it. So, and of course you had you had Christian perform on one of the tracks too, Cell, right?
He performed in several tracks, but it's like some of them are very little. It's like just maybe a few words here and there, or not really his exact voice, doing a lot of screaming in some parts. But he did, in Cell, he did the most. And even like City of Sixes, in the chorus part, he's there. And Lady in the Wall, in some parts, he's there. Like a lot of, without kind of covering Gil's voice, just keeping it in the background. And a lot of parts, he's there. I mean, because, he wanted to experiment. He wanted to try all kinds of different things. And then kind of in the mix, he just, put them a little in the background. But, yeah, in Cell, it's more obvious. And we wanted to also announce it that way, like he's there. He sang it with us. So that's really cool.
Absolutely. All right, so one more question before we get out of here. Just so we can learn a little bit more about you, who were some of your influences as both a writer and as a guitarist? Because obviously you coming from Turkey, you have a different perspective on music than we would here. So who were some of those bands or some of those albums or artists that really, were...
Well, still, old school metal always an influence, and it never goes away. It never will. And it's sadly the new generation not really paying attention much to the metal from the 80s or 90s. And but thank God, some of those big old school metal bands still alive and still kicking and rocking and still making albums like Testament, Anthrax, Megadeth, Metallica. So thank God they still exist. They're showing the world that they are the ones created this. They are the ones started this. So that influence is still there. But then there are so many great new bands since the 2000s, starting with the new metal genre, new metal trending, or alternative metal, then the alternative whatever. Now there are all kinds of genres. And I don't even know which goes into which genre anymore. But there are a lot of new bands also, since 2000. They're also it's a very influential, it's like I can easily say Disturbed, Slipknot, Five Finger Death Punch, Godsmack. These are these are also incredible bands, and I don't think anyone can deny that. But personally, it's I'm a big Machine Head fan, and I'm a big Rob Dylan fan. So it's a lot of influence from there, and also I'm a big Black Hills fan, or big Wasp fan, and it's and a big Manowar fan, and also all these. I'm my catalog of a favorite musicians and artists, it's huge, and it's a huge variety. It's and then I'm influenced by a lot also by the band The Cure, and which nothing metal or anything like that, but the dark side of The Cure, the lyrics, the music, and the vibe. Then I think when I write, I kind of take that and turn it into metal. Or I use that vibe in metal. So if it's not metal, probably I would be writing songs like The Cure.
All right. Before we get out of here, of course, we play you guys on Metal Nation Radio. Do you mind doing a station ID for us?
Sure.
Just however you want to say it. This is Emir Erkal of Voodoo Terror Tribe. You're listening to Metal Nation Radio. However you want to say it. Awesome. Emir, thank you so much for taking some time. I'm really digging the Sunshine and Cold album. It's a fantastic record, and it's been nice getting to know you a little bit, and I'm really looking forward to spending more time with this album because there's so many layers to it.
Yes, it is, and thanks for having me. Thank you, I appreciate it, and glad you're enjoying it. And yes, there's the more you listen to it, I'm sure you're gonna, I think, get different vibes and feelings.
Absolutely, and those are the best albums, right?
Yeah.
All right,
yeah, not just one hit wonder, or just one song great and the rest of the album. Oh no, I don't want this.
All right, I will let you get out of here real quick before we head out. Do you guys have any more tour plans coming up? We're gonna hit the road probably next year around March. That's what we're working on, and this year probably we will have maybe a couple more local and regional shows to close the year. Right.
But a tour is in the works for possibly March or after March next year, 2017.
Excellent.
And as soon as it's confirmed, we'll announce it, and everyone can check on our website, voodooterrortribe.com, and facebook.com/VTTRocks, and all the other social media and web pages.
Fantastic. Again, Emir, thanks so much, and we'll talk with you soon, my friend.
Thanks, man. Definitely. Have a great night.
Take care.